Hello world, welcome to episode 210 of the Jimmy Canz Show. It is a classic supercard retrospective. It is WWF SummerSlam 93. Let's talk about it. All right. SummerSlam 93 took place in Auburn Hills, um, Palace of Auburn Hills, actually, in Auburn Hills, Michigan, on August 30th, 1993. It was attended by 23,954, broadcast live on pay-per-view, later released on VHS, courtesy of Coliseum Video. The action was called by Vince McMahon and Bobby the Brain Heenan, and the Macho Man Randy Savage acted as master of ceremony, while they actually had a radio broadcast of the event. And the radio broadcast was called by good old JR Jim Ross and Gorilla Monsoon. So let's get into it. The opening contest of SummerSlam featured Razor Ramon taking on the Million Dollar Man, Ted DiBiase. I mean, at this point in their respective careers, it's pretty obvious that Razor goes over in this one. And if memory serves, I think this might have been DiBiase's final singles pay-per-view contest in his career. So, next up was a matchup for the WWF World Tag Team Championship. Your champions, Rick and Scott, the Steiner brothers, took on the Heavenly Bodies from Smoky Mountain Wrestling, managed by Jim Cornette. Bodies consisted of Dr. Tom Pritchard and the Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey. Let's be honest, there was no way Vince was going to let the tag titles go to two guys from a lesser company. So the Steiners get the three in this one after a Frankensteiner from Scotty. The IC title is on the line in a continuation of what started back at Mania backstage, as Mr. Perfect challenges the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels for the IC title. Michaels has his bodyguard Diesel in his corner. Diesel actually takes Perfect out on the outside, allowing HBK to get the win via countout. So Perfect somewhat protected in this one, but HBK retains. 1-2-3 Kid takes on IRS next. This one surprised me as IRS got the win here. Kid was running a hot streak, was getting a solid push, so having him lose here was kind of a surprise, especially given the point in each individual's career. Like I said, kid, new guy, getting this push, so it didn't make a lot of sense to me. Why you had IRS go over here? Don't know what they were trying to accomplish here, but is what it is. I guess just you had two baby face. I don't know. Had, you had two baby face wins, and you had a heel win by count out, and you have a heel actually win a match. So whatever. 50-50 booking. Next up, Bret Hart was scheduled to take on Lawler, but Lawler states that he was injured, comes out on crutches, and he calls on his court jester, Dwayne the Clown, to substitute for him. Bret wins by DQ when he is jumped by Lawler, who wasn't really hurt. Then Jack Tunney comes out and says Lawler will be banned from the WWF forever if he does not compete. So he's forced to compete. And Bret actually gets Lawler to submit to the sharpshooter, but refuses to relinquish the hold. Thus, the decision is reversed. Bret is actually DQ'd. So Lawler actually ends up getting the win over Bret Hart here due to the Hitman's temper. Next up, Marty Jannetty takes on the Finnish newcomer Ludwig Borga. Uh, Borga is being pushed as the new foreign monster heel, and destroys Jannetty in this one. I think if I'm remembering correctly, watching back, Jannetty has all of maybe about 10 to 12 seconds of offense in this entire match. It is pretty lopsided. So next up is the RIP match between The Undertaker against Giant Gonzalez with Harvey Whippleman. Undertaker actually comes out without Paul Bearer. Bearer does end up eventually making his way to ringside and recapturing the urn, thus powering The Undertaker onto victory. Um, Gonzalez is berated after the match by Whippleman, leading to a face turn for the big guy, but he would be out of the WWF by October and out of wrestling after a short stint in Japan, uh, shortly after that. So it's kind of the swan song for old Giant Gonzalez. Six-man action next. Billy and Bert, the Smoking Guns, joining forces with the Native American Tatanka to face the Head Shrinkers, Fatu and Samu, Alpha in their corner, and Bam Bam Bigelow, Luna Vachon accompanying him. Originally, this was planned as a mixed tag team match between Tatanka and Sensational Sherry with Bigelow and Luna. However, Luna broke her arm. Um, and Sherry left the WWF in July. So that forced the WWF to change the match uh, to this. Why why not just a singles match for Tatanka and Bigelow? But whatever. After the heels miss triple headbutts, Tatanka pins Samu for the win. So it was a match. And then last but not least, the Lex Express comes to its final stop as Made in the USA. Lex Luger challenges Yokozuna with Mr. Fuji and Jim Cornette in his corner for the WWF title. So Luger ends up winning this one, but he wins by countout. Um, Talk about anticlimactic. Um, and then just the aftermath made zero sense whatsoever. As the entire babyface locker room empties out and hoists Luger up on their shoulders, celebrating him like this conquering hero, but he didn't win the title. Just an awful end to this angle. I do agree with Yoko retaining. That was the right call, but this was just very poorly executed. I mean, you do everything exact same, but don't have a locker room empty out. That was just that looks just so foolish. Um, 86 the balloons and the ticker tape celebration, that was just 0 cents. So, in terms of Hall of Famers in this show, you had 20 Hall of Famers. Um, you know, the Hitman, Lawler Perfect, Alpha Fuji, DiBiase, HBK Yoko, Paul Bearer, Razor, Rikishi, Diesel, Luna, Billy Gunn, the Kid, uh, Rick and Scott, Taker, Luger. Um, if you add in ring announcers, commentary teams, masters of ceremony, et cetera, that's Savage, Heenan, Fink, JR, Gorilla. That's 25. So very action-packed show in terms of Hall of Fame involvement. Um, so every match, really, but one had some solid story to it. Um, based on the build-up. But I don't know. It was the ending was just so bad. Like I said, the six man didn't make a lot of sense. IRS going over kid with that one didn't make a lot of sense. I'm gonna say on a 10 belt scale, SummerSlam 93. Uh, it's a five. Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, Kid IRS, why? Six Man, why? Marty and Borga, yeah. Why are the Heavenly Bodies getting a tag title match? Uh, the Taker Gonzalez thing's finally over. The Brett Lawler story was solid. You had a whole summer with the Luger build and end it that way. Yeah, it was just meh. It was just mid. So, our next classic retrospective that we will talk about um, will be ECW's Ultra Clash '93. And yes, that was the actual entrance. Ultra Clash '93. Um, Plastic tablecloths and duct tape. So, um, give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe. Wherever you are, hope you're doing well. Take care of one another. I'll see y'all when I see you.